Alright, new Chainsaw Man trailer just dropped like a couple of hours ago. 10, 12 hours ago, actually, I don't know. I was gone, I was out. I didn't even know a trailer was gonna drop. I was just having a wonderful time blissfully ignoring the Chainsaw Man community, fandom, whatever you want to call it, and then somebody in the comment section started saying, hey, you gonna watch the Chainsaw Man trailer? And I'm like, what are you talking about? But here we are. I gotta watch it, of course, obviously. I'm a manga reader. I am not caught up with part 2 of the current latest chapters. It's been like a couple of months actually, so I am not up to date whatsoever. So don't spoil me on future content of Chainsaw Man, and I will not spoil you on the next upcoming content of Chainsaw Man. So spoiler free video, by the way, even though I am a manga reader, so if you're an anime only watching this, just so you know, like, you're fine, you're safe. I'm not gonna talk explicitly about the trailer whatsoever. I'm just gonna give my thoughts on it. But do keep in mind when you go into the comment section, because you'll never know. So yeah, I have some thoughts, but I'm gonna save that up until we finish watching the trailer. So let us jump straight into it. I'm super tired, by the way. Sorry if I'm not energetic. Of course, yeah.
最強に元気なら明日の休み私とデートしない？
や
ったー！デンジ君みたいな面白い人初めて。
Alright.
マキマさんは俺に心ってあると思います？
どうしてそんなことを聞くの？私が全部教えてあげる。
Oh, they're showing that. Alright.
どうしよう。目つむると二人になっちまったよ。
Oh, they really are showing. Whoa.
全員俺んこと殺そうとしてんだけど。あいつに天使をやるわけにはいかない。
Whoa.
人間は苦しんで死ぬべきだと思ったの。
これが正解だよな。チェイサー様大キャービーム俺に後悔させんじゃね
Alright. Cool. 2025, no actual release date just yet, but 2025. Alright. Immediate first thoughts. There is a slight change in the art direction, even though it's mostly the same staff. So when I looked at like the staff list for the show, or at least for the movie, it's pretty much the same staff, except for like Nakayama, who left the project. But like, it's mostly the same staff. It's like mostly the same. It's the same art director. It's the same character designers and everything. So really, it's like the same people, but just evolving the overall, I would say, visual art direction. In terms of general direction, I would say it's still pretty much on par with season 1, or at least in terms of like the vibes of the mundanity that they're showing here. We'll talk about like the action direction later on, but just specifically about like the groundedness that they are showing in the first half of the trailer that we are seeing right here. And it's a thing that I wouldn't say, well, yeah, it's a thing that I was kind of worried when Nakayama left the project, because Nakayama has a lot of worshippers and haters, but one thing that I absolutely love about Nakayama's direction in season 1 was his direction to the groundedness of the world, the parts where we're just focusing on the characters, the mundanity of it all, as I mentioned. To me, that's like the main highlight of season 1, and to me, that is almost, in many cases, sort of like the main focus of season 1, right? Season 1 wasn't really about the action to begin with. Like sure, the action was there, but it's not really what you're supposed to be focusing on the most. What we're trying to be focusing on is the daily life of Denji, the thing that Denji wants to have, right? Denji wants a normal life. So what are we focusing on the most in season 1? Normal life. And to me, season 1 of the anime absolutely nailed it in that regard. And part of the reason why I really love that season, that adaptation so much, right? And I'm hoping, at least from what I am seeing here, I'm getting that similar vibe from the attention to detail, the care, the attentiveness of these moments, like this moment, for example, or or this moment. It's carrying that same level of expressiveness through regular actions, if you will. And I'm hoping that the film remains consistent in that regard. And speaking of direction, visual art direction, I would say, or at least character design, at least, there is a bit of a change, not drastic, but a change that is still subtle. And that subtlety mostly from the, how do I describe it? I would say it's the application of color, the character design, and the overall art direction of this entire trailer reminds me a lot of JJK season 2, which is another thing that I do want to talk about. JJK and Chainsaw Man I've always seen as these two shows that kind of have this symbiotic relationship, where these shows, these juggernaut shows from Studio Mappa, they are kind of like the shows that the studio is focusing on the most in terms of like pushing out or setting the standards every time, and also the fact that the shows kind of share a lot of similar staff members. Like some of the art, not art director, but like some of the character designers, for example, from this movie worked on JJK season 2, who also worked on Chainsaw Man, for example. So it's always this evolution every time I watch Chainsaw Man and JJK, because to me it's always seemed like JJK season 1 is like the standard that they set up, like this is the base foundation of what they're trying to do, and then the staff of that season took the things that they learned from JJK season 1 and applied to Chainsaw Man, right? And then the things that they learned from Chainsaw Man they applied to JJK season 2, because I absolutely felt certain Chainsaw Man certain Chainsaw Man influences in JJK season 2. I have finished season 2 by now. Fantastic season in terms of like visual direction, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of influences in JJK season 2 that I felt are from Chainsaw Man, and Chainsaw Man was also influenced by JJK, and I'm talking about the anime, not the manga. And I'm feeling like the Chainsaw Man movie, there's a lot of JJK season 2 influence in here as well. So it's always this like mutual relationship of like, all right, here's the things that we learn, here's the things that we can improve on, here's the things that we want to improve on, here's the thing that we can change. And it's always interesting to see how they develop the visual style of these two shows with each new iteration, but with each new entry to the project. Because this isn't like Attack on Titan, for example. There is a big difference, right? A drastic difference from Attack on Titan seasons 1 to 3 and Attack on Titan the final season. But if we're focusing on just Attack on Titan final season, where it is done by Studio Mappa, that is pretty consistent from beginning to end, right? The only thing that changed is that they got more time and they are able to polish it more and more. But in terms of like visual consistency, it's pretty consistent. Like director Hayashi has a vision, and that vision has been consistent from beginning to end. in terms of like Attack on Titan final season, right? Chainsaw Man and JJK, I cannot say the same because they keep changing directors. But most of the core staff remain the same, right? Some staff members got promoted into action direction and became director, right, when it comes to Chainsaw Man, the movie. But overall, it's just, a really unique thing to see, the same people who are working on the same project kind of trying to one up themselves with each passing iteration, and with this, again, like I mentioned, like I do feel, well, it's hard to say, I obviously I need to see more, but I do hope that they still retain some of Nakayama's influence in terms of like the mundanity, as I mentioned, some of the more serious, grounded stuff as well, because I think that is what Chainsaw Man Season 1 nailed the most. Definitely the best part of Chainsaw Man Season 1 in my eyes. Because we are not going to have a lot of those moments, right? Second half of the trailer is just straight up nonstop action, action, action. And the action here, this is where JJK Season 2's influence started to, started to appear in my eyes. Nice frame of comedy, screaming and crying here. But, I feel like some of the best parts of JJK Season 2, like episode, what was it, like 15, and the double whammy of 16, 7, no, not 16, 17. The episodes that I'm talking about. I'm starting to mix up the episode numbers, but Thunderclap and the bathroom fight, if you know, to me, like those fight scenes, they stood out the most in terms of like action direction, choreography, cinematography, art direction as well. That most of the Shibuya arc in JJK Season 2 kind of pales in comparison to it. Like, that set the standard really high. And from what I'm seeing here, it's like, okay, what have we learned from that fight, from those fights? How do we apply it here? And that's kind of what I am kind of feeling here. I'm sure there's a bunch of really cool frames here. I'm not gonna bother for the time being. Very keen to see like how they're gonna be handling the action in the movie. I think it's gonna be, yeah. I'm still wondering like how they're actually gonna be handling it, because there is a fine balance between keeping it still grounded while also being over the top, and being way too over the top that it feels disconnected from the groundedness of everything else. And I feel like with Season 1, at the very least, the action, say what you will about it, feels connected to the groundedness of the tone of Season 1, right? Trying not to say much. Trying not to say too much. Yeah. Looks great. Honestly, there isn't much to say, It's trying to say more when you are given not much, and you're also trying not to spoil anything. Yeah. But that's just my overall thoughts. I do think that if the schedule is right, then JJK Season 3, or whatever it's going to be called, is going to be releasing after this. No doubt in my mind, they're going to be taking the things that they learned from the Chainsaw Man movie, they're going to apply it to JJK, and then rinse and repeat for like the next season of Chainsaw Man and whatever. Again, symbiotic relationship, because Studio Map is like playing the staff members like ping pong. Like, oh, you're working on Chainsaw Man, ping! Now you're working on JJK. Oh, you're working on JJK, now go back to Chainsaw Man. Freedom! But yeah, I'm excited. I am very much excited. I'm excited to see how they're gonna be adapting this, because Chainsaw Man, if I'm gonna be honest, is like my least favorite work from Fujimoto. I love Chainsaw Man, don't get me wrong, I love it. I mean, my reaction to the anime speaks for itself, but the reason why I love the anime is because I feel like the anime did something differently from the manga. That difference is what made me enjoy the anime more, because to me, if I were to compare Chainsaw Man to other of Fujimoto's like major works, it's my least favorite. Like Fire Punch, Look Back, and especially Goodbye Eri right over here. Like to me, these resonate with me a lot more than Chainsaw Man. And I read Chainsaw Man first before these mangas came out. And reading these mangas after Chainsaw Man, it's like for me specifically, Chainsaw Man, or at least like for the first half of part one, I thought was just fine. Like, all right, cool. But at the time when I was reading it for the first time, I didn't really, it never really clicked for me. It was like, all right, cool, fine, all right, let's see where this goes. It's only after like the second half, and especially towards like the back end, like the final few volumes of Chainsaw Man, where it really clicked for me, and I started to really dig it. Probably also like the reason why I was enjoying part two a lot more than part one was because I feel like Fujimoto at that time already, he already found like the formula and like how to approach Chainsaw Man really, really well. At least for my taste, all personal, opinions. It's all subjective, but yeah, it's like part of the reason why I also enjoyed season one of the anime a lot more than its manga counterpart, at least for those specific chapters. It's because that anime, the animated adaptation, gave me or showed me many aspects or many perspectives that I never really got to see in the manga. And what I mean is how, again, like how it approaches the story, the tone of the story, and just like the overall just the overall presentation of season one. To me, that was like, okay, this is cool because this is different. Because when I was reading Chainsaw Man, I'm like, okay, what's the difference? People keep telling me that this is different, but I am not seeing the difference. Watching the Chainsaw Man anime, I felt the difference. I felt the uniqueness. I felt, okay, this is different. This is something else entirely. This is something that has a voice. And I guess the only thing that I am worried about, like the future of the Chainsaw Man anime, is that if this becomes more and more like JJK, then direction wise and visually speaking is what I'm trying to say. Like if this starts to feel like JJK or other contemporary modern shonens, then to me it just loses its uniqueness again. It's just like when Chainsaw Man season 1 was released, it was like during a sea of things where it's just all about the action and all about the booms and the loud noises and the whatever cliches that you can think of in a shonen, which not all of them are bad. There's something so unique and so, what's the word? Refreshing to see something that is being taken this seriously with such bold decisions in its creativity, if that makes sense. I still feel that in this trailer, by the way. Like, I still feel that. But time will tell. You're not gonna see my reaction to the movie anyways. I'm gonna be watching this in theaters. Ain't no way I'm gonna wait for this to come out now. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. That's my reaction to the Chainsaw Man movie. Probably the only reaction to the Chainsaw Man movie that you will ever gonna be seeing from me. Unless the movie doesn't come out in theaters near me, then in that case, then I'll do a reaction. But time will tell. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. See you all next time. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.